You're listening to What She Said on Canada Talks.
Well, we were just talking about women in the corporate workplace, and now we are going to talk about women in the film industry. And joining us is Susan Smythe Bishop, who is co-founder and co-director of a group called Pioneering Women, which was initially founded in late 2010. Welcome.
Thank you very much. Very happy to be here.
So why don't you tell us a little bit about the group and why you founded it?
Okay, Pioneering Women, we founded it in 2010. Sarah Nekoloff, who is a vice president at Entertainment One, and I realized that there is a lack in our industry of positive of opportunities for women to seek out positive mentorship. So we thought that it would be a good idea to set up this organization and host events where we could introduce the young. We started with the idea of introducing role models to younger women in the industry. So we hosted an event. It was very successful, and when we did it, we realized, well, it's not just for younger women. There's a huge benefit in younger women and more mature women coming together, where there's mentorship and reverse mentorship. So we started these events, and it actually has grown to be quite a successful initiative for us.
Now, one would think that in the arts there isn't the same sort of discrimination, perhaps. I mean, I use that term loosely, as in the corporate world, but is there?
In terms of discrimination, I don't know. I mean, I think that when it comes to women working in any industry, the pay equity issue is always going to be there. I mean, there always will be issues. What we find in our industry, it's very ego-driven. So one of the reasons why we wanted to do this is to try and show women that if you don't have to lead by ego. There are a lot of other ways that you can show your leadership and help women grow. Don't follow the lead of the ego-driven. It's sort of a male-dominated industry, but there are a lot of women in the ranks. But you don't need to manage that way. So what we're trying to do is bring positive role models in. Like next week, we're doing an event with Janet Keston and Nancy Vonk. For
the Dove campaign.
Yes.
Yeah.
We've had them on.
Yes.
And they're incredibly positive role models. And the book is fantastic. Darling, You Can't Do Both. It's an amazing book. So this is an opportunity for us to really inspire a lot of women in our industry. So.
Now, it says one of your objectives to this day is to address concerns that may restrict women's personal and professional growth. Is that sort of what you were referring to before?
Yeah. One of the reasons why we started this was that we had noticed there are a lot of younger women that come into the industry, often as interns, and so they're just right out of college. And they come into the industry, and it's a very social industry. So, after work, there's a lot of drinking, there's a lot of partying and stuff. And women, we noticed some women thinking it was like just an extension of college. And so they would be drinking quite heavily. And there would be, a few women were known as party girls. We need these women as being really competent, really smart, really, really, they had great work ethic, but they were being branded as party girls. And so we were worried that was really going to hurt their potential. So part of our wanting to do this was just to show them you have to be aware of your brand and what you're doing early in your career, because once you're branded, right? Mm-hmm. And it can really restrict your growth. So it's okay to go out and have fun, but you just have to know that you're in the social world, you're out there. Right?
Or is it a double standard, maybe? I mean,
totally a double standard. Totally.
Still,
there are men in the industry that go out and people drink, and you can joke about Joe's liver, but you start joking about Jill's liver, and Jill's got a problem, right? So it's really is a double standard, we think.
Now, have you noticed a change in, the last 5 years, 10 years? More women, that there are less restrictions, that there's less discrimination, that there's less of a pay gap, or not?
I kind of thought there was, but when you look at statistics now, it's not the case. There still is a big gap, and that was shocking to me. A few years ago when I was at Maple Pictures, we worked on a film called Made in Dagenham, and it was about women, I think in the 60s, that worked in the Ford plant in the UK, and they went on strike for equal pay because they realized, why are we taking this? And in my head, I thought, good, those women back in the 60s, they paved the way for us. But when we did an event with a labor lawyer in support of the film, she actually said to me, she goes, we're not even close to pay equity yet. And it was just a couple of years ago that I realized that. And I was furious about it. And if reading this book, I mean, they talk about the pay gap as well. And even if you look at Sheryl Sandberg's book, Lean In, it's the same thing. We're not there yet, which is
72
shocking.
cents on the dollar.
Yeah, and even when we look at megastars, I mean, we look at, Meryl Streep doesn't make any. I think Robert Downey Jr. is the top grossing actor, and Meryl Streep, who, come on, is nowhere near.
No, I know.
So even in the highest echelon of the industry, and the most visible part of that industry, it's still true. You're right.
Well, even from the Sony fallout, we talked about, we found out that women were like making $7 million less than lead actors in some of their recent productions. So it is a problem, and it's shocking to me. Like, how is that possible in this day and age? But it's definitely an issue. So
it's scarily normal in this day and age.
It is. You just accept it.
Now, the Canadian film industry, it's a big umbrella. So what other, you started off with the motion picture industry, but I mean, who can be involved, come to these events?
We started off mostly in film distribution, so people who are actually releasing movies, because there's production. There are a couple of other associations for women, I think Canadian Women in Film and Television, a much larger umbrella. So the difference for us is that we try and host events that are affordable. So, $25 to $30 will get you a book. We'll get you into the event. You can have speaker. You have the whole experience.
That's great. That is great, because a lot of these things are in the hundreds of dollars, and who can afford that?
Yeah,
especially a young woman who's starting out.
Exactly. So that's why we really don't make money from these events at all. It's not our objective. Our objective is to keep it as low as we can. Partners like HarperCollins are amazing. We've worked with them on. This is our third event with them. We did something with Gail Vaz-Oxlade. Was one of our first. We did Amanda Lang a couple of years ago. It's a great partnership because everybody comes away with a book, and to me, books are gold. If you want a mentor, it's great, but you can own a piece of a mentor if you have a book. So it's been a great partnership. But we started off with women in film distribution, and then we thought, well, women in film distribution can relate to women in the music industry who have similar issues to what we have, and in publishing. And so we just opened it up because it's a good networking opportunity for women in all industries.
So anybody can come. Anybody that's interested is open up. And how do people find out about it? You have a website?
We have our website. So if you go to pioneeringwomen.com and go to future events, all the details on how you can buy tickets are there. And we love.
You don't have to be a member.
We don't. No, you don't have to be a member. If you're a member of the Canadian Picture Pioneers, you get a discount, but it's not. You can.
And what about people who may feel that they would like to mentor younger women and join your group? Can they?
Well, anybody, we don't offer mentoring, like one-on-one mentoring.
No, but who want to be part of the push to mentor?
Come on out. Like, honestly, go to our website and just, they can join our database. If they send us an email at info@pioneeringwomen.com, we're happy to add you to our database. Right now, our events are mostly happening in Toronto, just because of Manpower, we all work full-time, so it's hard for us to put these events on, more than 1 or 2 a year. But by all means, get on our database, and we'll communicate when our events come in.
So is it open to women across the country?
Sure.
Your group?
Absolutely. Yeah.
So you guys, it sounds like with the dollar, Hollywood North may be a little busy this summer. At least that's what a lot of people in the industry, including my daughter, are hoping. They have their fingers crossed. Are you hearing that people are going to be busy? Lots of
I have heard that
movie
too.
making coming up?
Yeah, I have heard that too.
Well,
yeah.
then hopefully everybody's busy, everybody's working, and that the women demand equal pay.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Susan Smythe Bishop, thank you very much for coming in and telling us all about pioneering women. It's
well, thank you for having me. It was fun.
Click the channel subscribe button for full-length interviews and more from What She Said here on YouTube.